WCRN News Time is now 6:29 on this Monday. Let's wrap up. We've got Matt still holding on the line. Matt, thanks for holding on to us. Let me ask you a question because there's something I've been wondering about because I'm not going to deny or dispute that the Tea Party had a role in Scott Brown being elected, but I also think that there were a combination of things that happened where when Scott Brown was elected to the U.S. Senate, he faced a candidate that really wasn't working as hard as Scott Brown. Don't you agree with that?
Oh, I would definitely agree with that. But when we're talking about the opportunity that Scott Brown represented, I mean, realize that was set up by the Democrat hierarchy, and they believed it would be a cakewalk. It's not like Martha Coakley, in and of herself, thought that this would be an easy task. She had, all the smart political advisors from the Democrat Party telling her it was going to be a cakewalk. And I'm certain that Scott Brown started running that election, not running, seriously believing that he would be the next senator. I firmly believe, and I've always felt, that he was running that election to prepare himself for running for Attorney General in her absence.
My thinking is that one reason Scott Brown won, and the reason I'd say Elizabeth Coakley lost, is simply because he plain and simple worked harder for the job than she did.
While we cannot deny that Scott Brown put out a greater effort than Martha Coakley did, we also have to point out that the people behind Scott Brown put out a greater effort than the people behind Martha Coakley did.
I couldn't agree with you more. Hugh, what do you think there?
Just want to talk the ideas, and I'd like to learn, and if I'm wrong, I'd like to be shown where I'm wrong so I can correct myself. And when I'm right, I'd like to, get acknowledgement from the other side that, hey, maybe he's got a point. But for the most part, as you guys have said it, and I'm going to listen to you guys, but, it's a matter of ideas.
I'll even go one step further. I sincerely hope I'm absolutely, totally wrong. If I'm absolutely, totally wrong, then we're set up for a great advance in our country, and America will be the shining example on the planet. But I can't believe that, making, $35 and spending $90, we can do that. I just don't see that.
Well, I hear you. It's a matter of people, well, first of all, everyone can have their political leanings. And it doesn't mean that the other guy's a bad guy.
Right.
We forget to the point that we're all Americans.
You and I figured that out a long time ago, Q.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of laughs, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But we're all Americans first.
Right.
It should be party second. But I think a lot of times, both sides, when you look at Washington, look at what we're dealing with right now at the physical cliff.
It's terrible.
To me, it's un-American.
To me, it's the ultimate manifestation of this crap about bipartisanship.
It's like the ultimate chicken game right now.
This fiscal cliff was, designed by politicians to serve politics. And the president signed it, and the senators signed it, and the congressmen signed it, and everybody said this was a great idea a few years ago. And now that they haven't been able to get together and actually hash out ideas because it doesn't have the right optics, we're all going in the hopper. Well, personally, I think I'd rather go in the hopper today than have my son go in the hopper tomorrow, because it's only going to be that much worse when he has to face it.
Two sides to that, and I want people to understand something. What we pay for today is one thing, and we also hold an obligation to our future, to our grandchildren and their kids, to have a financially fiscal secure country, but also to have a country that has a secure infrastructure, and we can't ignore one without the other. And it would be imprudent, and it would be absolutely disgraceful if we let our infrastructure go where it is now. It's crumbling, and we need to invest. And I think this is where we're going to split on some common themes here. Is I believe we need to turn around. We need a jobs bill and reinvest in this country and build the infrastructure. We owe that to our kids.
We've had hundreds of jobs bills. We've had hundreds of billions of dollars spent on infrastructure, and it's crumbling. You know what we need? We need to pay our bills, and we need to stop foisting them onto our children.
Well, I believe that we shouldn't have we're dealing with a fiscal cliff that was imposed 10 years ago by George Bush with his tax cuts and two wars that were
this
unfunded.
fiscal cliff came into existence just a few months ago, and it's something that every politician in Washington today signed up and signed on.
Yeah, both sides are guilty on this whole thing, and the normal media is guilty on it. Let's look at, I finally heard a national media source this morning about 3:30 in the morning as I was driving say the first honest statement about this fiscal cliff, because I've said it 2 or 3 times in the last couple Saturdays. You know what? I really don't care, because you know what? We have to fix it. I don't care about the 31st. Because you can go back in January, you can go back in February, you can go back in March, and make all the changes retroactive to December 31st or January 1. So they've hyped this and hyped this. No wonder the stock market is doing these flip-flops. No wonder business is scared to death, because people, they're making a much bigger deal out of this than they are. The biggest thing that I'm concerned about is we need to get spending under control, and we need to pass a budget in the United States of America that we haven't done now in almost 4 years. And that's the scary thing.
I want to say that I greatly appreciate you giving me this extended time today, and I greatly appreciate the kind words that I've heard from so many people already today. But I really have to say that if somebody who's heard me for 2 years thinks that I'm not really part of the Tea Party and that I'm phony and I'm doing this to get chicks or something, that
you are a hunk,
Well, yeah.
Oh, boy.
I had to say that, Matt. I had to say that.
There is that picture of me talking to that pretty red-haired girl.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Before I let you go, there's one thing I want to ask you, Matt, in particular, because we've been talking about the Tea Party. I for one, I don't think the Tea Party is going anywhere. But something I wonder about, and that is with the election, re-election of Barack Obama and the election of Elizabeth Warren and other Democrats, we saw the emerging of a new coalition that brought these people into elected office. And I wonder what's going to happen. The Tea Party is there, but what about this new coalition that elected Elizabeth Warren and others? Do you see this coalition as being maybe like a potential force like the Tea Party, a force that's going to be here to stay?
I really don't, because their goals are antithetical. And to be frank, I'd love to explore this more, but I really have to tell you that Barack Obama will have no coattail. He will have no lasting effect. He thinks he's a transcendent president, but really it's sort of a high watermark. Dare I say, it is the Pickett's charge of our lifetime.
Matt, thanks for that. And for that, I'm going to let you go right now. Thanks for being with us.